In 11.4, we get into one of the most useful parts of algebra, which is solving equations. We're going to be solving linear equations in this class. Linear equations have a variable which is to the power of 1 only, so we don't have any exponents other than 1. We're not going to have any variables in our denominator, and our answers, we're just going to have one solution for these equations. So in this example, it says label each as an expression, linear equation, or nonlinear equation. So in A, because of this exponent, this is a nonlinear equation. This is actually what we would call a quadratic equation, which you would work with in Math 56. In B, we have a linear equation because we have a variable x, which is to the power of 1. In other words, there's no other exponent on there, and we have an equal sign. In C, this is an expression because we do not have an equal sign. So pause the video and try to identify the next three there. All right, and let's do these three together. This first one is a linear equation. The next one is another example of a quadratic equation. So this is nonlinear because of that squared variable. And the last one doesn't have an equal sign. This is just an expression. Okay. Remember when we go through this unit that you can only solve equations. We cannot solve an expression. All right, one more thing to do before we kind of get into the meat of this section is to think about verifying a solution. So once you're learning to solve these, you're going to get an answer. And if you want to verify that answer and see if it's correct, what you want to do is put it back into your equation and see if it makes sense. When you solve an equation, you're saying, this x value I found makes this equation make sense. It gives a correct statement. So we need to see if that's actually true. In this case, we have this equation here, 2x plus 4 equals 10, and someone has found they think 3 is the solution. So we're going to verify if that's true. So to do that, I usually draw a line, and then I set up two sides. We've got our left side of our equation, which was 2x plus 4. We're going to substitute that 3 in for x, and then we can figure out what the left side would equal. So we substitute in the 3, then we get 2 times 3, which gives us the 6. So 6 plus 4, which gives us 10 down here. On the right side of the equation, we also have 10. So we're basically saying 10 equals 10, which is correct. So that means yes, 3 is a solution to the equation. One more example. So we've got this linear equation here. We're going to substitute our answer, which was 5, in for our x's in that equation. So we had 3x minus 2. That means we're going to sub our 5 in for x to get 3 times 5 minus 2, which gives us 15 minus 2, or 13. Then we do the same thing for the other side. So we had 2x plus 1, so that's going to become 2 times 5 plus 1, which gives us 10 plus 1, or 11. So we're basically saying if 5 was correct, then 13 equals 11, which is not a true statement. Therefore, 5 is not a solution to this equation. All right, go ahead and try this next one. So you've been given this equation. See if you can verify if 6 is a solution and then if -2 is a solution. All right, let's do this one together. So we have our left side and our right side. So on the left, we have 2x minus 1, and on the right, we have x plus 5. I'm going to substitute in a 6 for x, so I'll have 2 times 6 minus 1, which is 12 minus 1, which is 11. So I end up with 11 on the left. On the right, I will have 6 plus 5, so I also get 11. So that means yes, 6 is a solution. Now, I already told you that we only get one solution for a linear equation, so we could probably stop right there. But let's try the next one and see if -2 is the solution to this equation. So we've got 2x minus 1 on the left and x plus 5 on the right, and we're going to substitute in that -2 for x. So on the left, that would give us 2 times -2 minus 1, which is -4 minus 1, which is -5. On the right, we'll have -2 plus 5, which gives us 3. So since -5 does not equal 3, no, this is not a solution. And so this is a really useful tool when you start solving these equations to double check your answer and verify if it's correct.